Growing up with Western medicine and the prevalence of the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry here in America, I was taught to turn to doctors and drugs to cure illnesses. But what if there was a different approach to health? My name is Joshua Zonni, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my study abroad experience in Auckland, New Zealand, as well as a vast amount of research I covered on Rongoa Maori. So what is Rongoa Maori? Rongoa Maori is a form of holistic healing used by the native Maori people in New Zealand for hundreds of years. Today I would like to discuss how the Maori people practice Rongoa Maori, and then give a brief overview of Rongoa Maori's history, and finally conclude by comparison and contrast between Rongoa Maori and traditional Western medicine. So before understanding how the Maori people practice Rongoa Maori, first I would like to talk about the Maori people in general. As you can see by this picture, they're very tribal people and they live in close harmony with Mother Nature. They kind of believe that nature has a spiritual aspect to it and they kind of live off of the land. After all, they were living in New Zealand far before Western medicine, so the land is all they had to turn to cure their ailments and everything else. So the holistic aspect of Rongoa Maori incorporates spiritual healing as well as herbal remedies and physical therapies such as massage or cupping. So if a Maori person fell ill, they would visit their local village Tohunga, who is the native Maori healer. He's a trained healer, and basically he would sit down with the ill person, and they believe that all illnesses are spiritual, so he would kind of find where their imbalance with nature is, while they would discuss their ailments, and then after hearing them talk about whatever they're feeling or whatever ailment they have, he would either prescribe them, like we talked about, the herbal remedy, physical therapy, or just spiritual healing in general. So the most popular herbal remedy in Rongoa Maori is the kawakawa, which you can see here. It's one of the most popular plants throughout New Zealand, and it can be found in pretty much every part of the country. As you can see here, there's actually holes in the leaves because the bugs like eating it too. But they believe that if you chew on the leaves, it could cure toothaches or common headaches. If you eat the root of the plant, it would help cure stomach aches. Or if you had a cold or the flu or something, you could even take the plant leaves, boil it with water, and turn it into a tea to help cure the body. As well as if you had cuts on your arms or something, you could apply the leaves straight to your skin, and they believed it would help the skin heal faster. Although scientific studies are varied on the healing properties of kawakawa, I believe that a lot of it is this related back to the spiritual aspect of the Maori people's connection with the land and them regarding plants and nature as sacred, which a lot of that can't be proved in scientific studies. From my personal experience abroad, we actually had the opportunity to chew on some kawakawa, and there's definitely some chemical or something in the leaf that definitely has a numbing or tingling sensation. We were chewing on the leaves and it definitely felt like you were numbing your mouth or something, which was interesting. So now that we have a better understanding of how Rongoa Maori is practiced, I would like to discuss a brief history of Rongoa Maori. So New Zealand was discovered a little over 700 years ago by the Polynesian people, and they've been practicing Rongoa Maori to keep their people healthy ever since. But roughly 300 years ago, when New Zealand became a colony, a European colony, the Europeans brought over a lot of diseases such as dysentery, gonorrhea, and whooping cough and other things that the Tohunga couldn't cure based on using the land. So at that point in time, Rongoa Maori lost a lot of steam. It lost favor of Western medicine, which was more scientifically proven and eventually had cures for all those ailments that the Europeans brought over. From 1907 to 1962, practicing Rongoa Maori in New Zealand actually became illegal as the country kind of forced the native Maori people to become more westernized and assimilate into Western culture and visit traditional doctors and take part in the pharmaceutical industry. Ever since 1962, there's been a push to bring back the Maori culture, and currently Maori people account for roughly 15% of the population, and traditional Rongoa Maori practices by Tohunga are actually picking up steam nationwide as well as around the world. So I believe this forceful suppression of the Rongoa Maori practice was due to the belief that Western medicine is superior or better than the traditional Rongoa Maori medicine. But this kind of brings me to my final point, where is there a contradiction or cohesion between the two? So it's not necessarily a matter of fact that one is better than the other, but rather we could talk about the different aspects of health. So for example, you can see here the 5 most prominent aspects of health. You got your spiritual, emotional, social, physical, and mental. So basically, you can make the argument that Western medicine cures a lot of the physical aspects of health, whereas traditional medicine such as Rongoa Maori focuses more so on the mental and spiritual components. So for example, if I'm driving back to San Diego next semester when hopefully the world opens up again, I'm driving down the 15, I get into a terrible car accident, break my back, I'm going to call 911 and go in an ambulance, and I want the best spinal surgeon money can buy to fix my spine and hopefully I can walk again. I'm not going to rub some kawa leaves on my back and hope everything's going to be okay. But on the contrary, so in that situation, I'm going to use Western medicine. But on the contrary, let's say I just suffer from general fatigue or chronic muscle tension, and I visit my general GP, and they run blood tests, and everything comes back normal, and I see a bunch of different doctors, and Western medicine doesn't really have any answers for me, then maybe I'm just living out of harmony with nature, or not living how I'm supposed to live, and kind of this would relate more so to the spiritual and mental aspects of health, and Rongoa Maori might have answers for that. So, during my research, I came across a quote by researcher Paige Eichel out of the University of Minnesota Duluth, who made the argument that indigenous knowledge and Western science can be used collaboratively to create a more holistic knowledge base and capacity for healing when allowed to occupy the same spaces. Building off of this, another researcher, Donna Carriage, posted in the International Journal of Human Rights Education that Maori medicine is not lesser, it's simply different. When we can respect what we're both good at and use that, people will be richer for the choice. No one modality has all the answers. So, I believe that there's definitely arguments to be made both for the spiritual and scientific aspects of health, and I believe there can be a cohesion between the two for the greatest good. So, to give a brief overview, today we learned about how the Maori people practice Rongoa Maori. We learned about the history of Rongoa Maori, and we talked about the potential for the cohesion between traditional healing such as Rongoa Maori and Western medicine. So, like we talked about, Rongoa Maori, holistic healing form of modality used by the native Maori people in New Zealand to cure all sorts of ailments. And some takeaways I would like you guys to walk away with. I would like you all to approach medicine with an open mind and realize that Western medicine or whatever you're used to in life isn't necessarily the end-all be-all. If you or a loved one are ever under the weather or ill and Western medicine doesn't seem to be providing you the answers you seek, I encourage you to seek out alternative healing modalities such as Rongoa Maori. Thank you.